When I was kind of going through this and putting this together, talking about what goals are, why we do them, and what it does for us, it gives me in black and white things to put down that I want to achieve. It brings all of that and makes me go for it. But what does it actually do besides give me those key things to do and to achieve?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. This show is going to encourage, challenge, and maybe even provoke you to step outside your comfort zone and take more action so that you can improve yourself and your health. I'm your host, Mark Avens, and in this crazy upside down world that seems to keep pushing a narrative for people to become softer and weaker and sicker and unhealthier, more dependent than ever, the goal and intent of the show is to help you navigate it so that you can become not just braver today, but braver today than you were yesterday. And, we're going to jump right in, have a special treat for you. What we actually have called, the coaches have called when they set it up and got started, called Coach's Corner. So it's a little different episode. It's not a Brave guest interview where we interview people. It's not a Brave Q&A. It's not a flavor of the day where we talk about the latest and greatest on health and fitness and pick apart diets and workout fads, pills, and so forth. I would say this is probably more of a breakthrough episode. In Coach's Corner, what has happened in the past is we do trainings for our coaching clients on a weekly basis. And that's on Tuesday nights typically. And while this is recorded on Wednesday morning early, our coaches do a little debrief after so that they can actually just give a kind of overview and outline of what they learned. And we have different types of trainings. We do stuff from nutrition, accountability, workouts, mindset, all those types of things that are going to develop people's skills so that they can actually get better and faster results. And that's what we're all about, is showing our clients that results are there for the taking, but they have to actually participate. And when they learn a skill set, it's something that could be taking you for the rest of your life to be in the best shape of your life for the rest of your life. So let's get started. I actually have the Coach's Corner. I'm actually feel privileged to be a part of it this morning because it's usually the two of you. And welcome. We have Coach Jennifer and Coach Joanne on. These are our success coaches. Let me give you just a quick kind of little debrief. So what's the role of our success coaches? So what happens when somebody comes into our program? We get kind of an intake and an overview of what their goals are and achieve. I usually make the process or do the due diligence of making sure that they're a good fit for our plan for actual program. Because while we have, I believe, the best coaching program out there, it's not for everyone. And there's certain things that I look for, in people that would be a really good client, because ultimately it comes down to our results, and our results are getting people results. And as up in probably about, I think close to 3 years, maybe more, about 3 years ago, Coach Joanne and Coach Jennifer weren't coaches in our program. They actually were clients, and they came in and did a tremendous job, not only getting amazing results, but also helping other women alongside of them in the program during the time that they were actually in the program themselves, and which was really, really awesome to see. It was perfect timing as we were growing. I needed more help. So they went through not only the process of getting trained in coaching and online space and how to run workouts, but they also got certified in precision nutrition. So they are well qualified, and we do ongoing training on a weekly basis, which is great. Ultimately, so that our clients can get the best results possible. And one of the things we do on Tuesday night is our Tuesday night training and our accountability. Coach Joanne led the charge last night, and she went over what it was kind of coined as the ABCs of checking in. And we're going to talk about and just have an open conversation. This is kind of how this is going to go today, to give you kind of highlights of that. Now, I'll admit I missed the training last night. I was in the process of helping my contractor bring a big sliding glass door that goes to the shower, and it was really, really heavy. I couldn't lift it myself, and we actually were doing two of those, and then I got kind of run around. So I'm excited to actually hear about it. I look forward to watching the replay, which we record for our clients as well who can't make it. Other than that, let's jump right in. How was it? How was the training?
It was amazing. Oh,
I see that. No, go. I loved it. Let's go. Well, Joanne, you did the training. So let's have Coach Jennifer critique the training. How about that? Let's
go right ahead for it. Go for it, Jen.
It was amazing. I even being in this program for over 3 years. Is it? Has it been 3 years?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
wow. But even last night, I got aha moments, and I wrote everything down, and it was a reminder that even those of us who've been around for a little bit can still level up and dial in doing our weekly check-ins. So that was kind of like a wake up and smell the coffee moment for me. So I think Joanne did an incredible job, and as always, but yeah, that's the my big takeaway. Should I tell them now, or should I let
Yeah,
it
let's
hang
do.
out?
Let's go kind of cut to the chase and do what your takeaway was. And then we'll have Coach Joanne talk about kind of we can kind of go over the overview of it stuff.
My takeaways were, of course, the big aha moment was when Coach Joanne, she so eloquently put the Tuesday accountability group, which comes on before the live. It comes on at 6:15 Eastern time for the inner circle. She said the reason why the Tuesday accountability group was important is for encouragement, support, and resolution. And that really hit home for me because I realized that although we asked what the news is, and for people who don't know what news is, that's an acronym that was created, and it's tell us about your nutrition, your exercise, your water, and your sleep. And for those who don't have troubles with sleep, their S is struggles. So that we can really quickly find a way for, like, literally you get 1 or 2 minutes to explain that, and then that gives us a few minutes to work with you, or for other people who are on the accountability to say, hey, I had that same exact problem and this is what I did about it. So it helps with the group support, and then getting the support helps you to find resolution to whatever your struggles are. So yeah, that was big. And that we all need to be more specific when we do our Monday, Wednesday, Friday goals.
Oh yeah. So what's the now I know, but let's for the audience, Monday, Wednesday, Friday goal. Oh, I know what you're saying. Monday goals and then Wednesday check-in and Friday. But let's maybe for the audience just share before pass over to Coach Joanne. Just what do you mean by more specific and what are clients doing with their goals?
yeah. When we're setting our goals, we don't want to just say something like drink my water. We want to be super specific because that makes it clear to the point and it gives us a measurable goal to reach. So we want to say something like drink 75 ounces of water daily. Put a number to it. How much you want to drink? How often do we want to drink that? Is it daily? Is it 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week? Just lay it all out on the line so it's super clear and understandable, and you know exactly where you need to get. And it helps you really bump everything up and get there.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, we see that because we've been doing the goals, setting 3 goals on Monday as a requirement on a weekly basis for years since you guys actually started. And that's the one thing I see over and over again. I think, loose made goals, it's easy to have loose ended made. It basically puts the pressure off of you almost. Oh, I'm going to eat more vegetables. Okay, well, how many more vegetables? How often? The bottom line as it comes to general goals get you general results. So the more specific you can get, the more simplified the process of actually dialing in where you're struggling. Because you could say, oh, eat more vegetables. Well, how do we even know how much you're eating now? Well, if you actually say, well, I need to have half of my plate filled with vegetables at every meal, breakfast included type of thing, then there's at least a specific goal. Well, what are you doing now? Well, I'm not really eating any vegetables, or I might have a protein shake with some spinach in it. Okay, well, it's not enough. Right. So at least it kind of can put where you're at to where you want to achieve. And then ultimately, the goal is for them to get better and faster results, right? That's the name of the game. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. So that's the Monday. And we do that as an announce it Monday kind of thing, 3 goals. So one of the first things, like it sounds like, you might as well go through the Monday start point is announcing your goals and being specific. What Coach Jennifer said, and just making sure in that respect. And that helps with the news, helps with the nutrition and the exercise and the water. Those are our really key components. And honestly, we'll just we'll just give them the farm, so to speak, and say that's pretty much how it works for our program. Like, you have to follow certain nutrition plan, outline, overview. You have to do exercise. You have to actually drink water and be, mindful of what you're consuming in beverages, and understanding that, and then and the necessity of water. And then, your sleep habits, of course, are going to be important as you dial in all of those other things. And one of those things are usually at least one, if not sometimes all, are the things that people struggle with, why they're not getting the results that they truly want. Awesome. What how about for you, Joanne? What did you, as far as in the people that were on as well, any kind of aha moments? At least I know you did the training, but maybe while you were actually putting the training together, anything as far as that enlightened you as a coach, or maybe even from clients that you're seeing now?
Yeah, well, last night, as far as while we're still talking about goals, as far as the goals go, when I was kind of going through this and putting this together, talking about what goals are, why we do them, and what it does for us, it hit home that, wow, when I was going through this right at the beginning and I was trying to set goals and figuring out how do I lay this out? What does it actually, I know that it gives me in black and white things to put down that I want to achieve, and it brings it to the forefront. It's out there and I know exactly what I need to do and what steps I need to take. It brings all of that and makes me go for it. But what does it actually do besides give me those key things to do and to achieve and work for? And when I started thinking about it, as I go through setting goals at work or in personal life, these things really, it triggers new behaviors that really benefit me in the long run all the way through. It kind of makes me focus. It guides my focus on what is truly important, what I need to work on, what I want to gain. It keeps my momentum sustained and going full steam. And at the end, when I achieve this goal, it gives me such a sense of self mastery. And I think that's important to get from setting those goals, because it keeps you going. It keeps you saying, wow, I can do that. And that's what these goals do for us. It did it for me, and it really took me home.
Yeah, and I was thinking, as you're saying that, I was thinking both for both of you guys, outside of just getting in really the best shape of your lives and then helping others with that, I see it trickling out and rippling effect into your family, and even we see that in clients as well. But for you guys, I see having big goals set and being able to achieve goals for yourself, whether it be weight loss, fitness goals. It tends to have a ripple effect on the outside goals that you have, maybe for family members, for your kids, or for work, like for you, Joanne, doing competition and dance, that kind of thing. So there's actually extra benefit almost by even being specific in your own personal goals, outside of even the fitness. But actually, it happened by the wins that you were stacking on your own personal goals that allowed you to kind of to have that same experience, or say, hey, well, if it'll work with my personal health and fitness, maybe it'll work over here. Maybe it'll work with my teenager getting to school. Maybe it'll work with some of them, or even helping them, even people you work with, and those type of things. I'd love to hear for you, Jen, kind of your perspective on that.
Well, I can say that doing the goals and setting things up and leveling up within this program, one of the big things that we've taken out of it when you talked about that is my husband's initiative to, on Sundays after church, we go for a walk. And some of those walks are a bit challenging.
Hikes.
Yes. Fun story is we had gone to this new park that we had found that's beautiful, and there, when you look at the map, the big map that says, hey, you can go this way or you can go that way, and there's all these trails. Well, the first time we went the trails to the left, which we did not know were the more experienced hiker trails. So we started joking that they had oh no hills, because when you're going up or down, it was roots of the tree where you placed your foot, or they had buried fallen logs halfway into the dirt so that you had something to step up on so you could actually make it up these hills. So it looked kind of like a stair step, like a stairway, yeah. But it was a challenge. granted, if you are a hiker that's, hiking the Rocky Mountains or doing Whistler Mountain or something like that, that's probably a lot more challenging. Well, definitely a lot more challenging than what we're doing.
Well, it's all
But,
relative too, right?
but it was one of those things that, I mean, we were like, you'd come around a bend and then you just see either a sheer wall up of steps or a sheer wall down of steps. And if there was a down, eventually you were going to come around to an up. So it was like you'd see us these steps made with logs and rocks and stuff. You would just go, oh no. So we started calling them oh no hills.
I was thinking another word instead of no, but we'll just leave it at that.
we said oh no because that was the funny part, because that's what we say. So and then just this past weekend when we did it, we took the paths because we took the dogs with us. Actually, it wasn't even the weekend, it was during spring break for my son. We took the dogs with us and we had gone to the right, and I had no idea what the right had to do, but I knew what the left was, and I knew I didn't want to take the dogs on that. And we did that one, and it was, fields where they had the blue bonnets, which is the Texas state flower. So it was a much more settled.
You're like, oh yes.
Yeah, I was like, we can do this. We only had one stairwell down. Well, it's not even a stairwell, but you know what I mean. Going down and of course going back up, but it was only one, and it was nowhere near what the others were from past. But beautiful place to see, beautiful views. That's our thing, and that's something that came from me doing my journey, my husband stepping in and going, let's make this every Sunday after church. Let's go for a walk.
Awesome. So. Yeah. I mean, the ripple effect is, I mean, it's only positive, right? When you do things that are going to positively benefit you, it's only going to be extra positive things that happen, right? It's kind of like you put deposits in your health account, like either deposits or withdrawal. So I like to talk about like a bank account. You make a deposit in your bank account, it's a good thing. You withdraw, it's not a bad thing, but if you take too many withdrawals and you don't have any deposits, then it could be a bad thing. But it's the same thing with your health. So as you were putting deposits in for you on your personal health and fitness journey, and you're actually doing those things, then I think that's awesome to see that actually transferring into other things. But let's move forward on the I have kind of your overview here and your outline. So we do the Tuesday night accountability. Let's touch on that because it's kind of like one of the second things. Now, one of the things we do make sure we tell people, it's not babysitting. We don't babysit people. Everybody's adults. But what is the importance of having an accountability group, or that kind of check in, or even though it's, for people all over the country that are kind of logging in, and what's the value and importance of that?
For me, it is having that group of like-minded people together that can hash things out, that can give each other support, encouragement, and give you that little bit of inside tough love with a little kiss at the end. So that it's not super tough, but you get your point across, and you can give them so much support and give them kind of little resolutions that have helped you with maybe the same issue, and to find out that you're not alone with something that you're struggling with. And that
I think that's huge. I think it's the hugest part, not alone. Because so many people, a lot of times we have people come into our program, even for you guys to some extent. I don't get into your personal journeys, but the majority of people, the reason why they're struggling, whether it's with weight, health, most of the time it's usually their weight, or they just really have really terrible unhealthy habits. They're not moving, they're not eating, they're eating garbage, they're eating processed food, they're eating too much food, they're not drinking any water, they're not sleeping, they have tons of stress, all those types of things. But the kind of one thing I wanted to say is, like, on a kind of simplistic side, on an accountability, a lot of times people just don't have that support at home, whether they're single or they have family members, or the family's so busy doing their own things, they don't have time, and they're so more self-absorbed, not in a bad way, because that's what kids are for the most part, right? They're doing their own thing. Or you have, spouses or family members or even colleagues at work and stuff. They're all doing their own thing. And it's kind of hard to get that extra support. I mean, that's the majority of people come into our program a big part of it is having that kind of community, if you will. It's partly why we started, kind of shameless plug, our New Brave community that we have outside of social media, because social media is even kind of a hard place. It's so distracting. So we've actually developed and created a brand new community. You can check that out. We'll put the link below for you. So you can check it out. And again, it's just for people who want to pursue healthy, fit lifestyle and want to be in a supportive environment. That's not even the coaching. So our clients, come into us and they're seeking that out. They know that, hey, I know how to eat. I know I need to eat healthier. I know I need to move more and exercise. I don't know exactly what I need to do to get best results. That's why I come to the Brave coaching program. But I do know that the thing, I get in my own way. I get distracted. I get stressed out. My job gets the best of me. My kids take all my time. My spouse isn't really on board. He doesn't really want to eat healthy or exercise, something to that nature. Right. So that's the kind of value I would love to see. Maybe instead of your own, and you don't have to mention the name, maybe give an instance that you've experienced with one of the clients that you've worked with in the past and how that actually has helped, the change, whether it be single or family or what have you. Maybe just share kind of an example of that. That would be great, because I think it's really important for people to understand.
Well, I can say one thing. I just wanted to say I have it in my head, so I'm holding on
Yeah,
to it really
go.
one of the things that we don't think about when we get started is, and even the clients, and I've heard this happen before, their family members don't tell them the facts, how it is. They're complacent with where their selves have gone and how their family sees them. Meaning that when you're starting to build that tire, or when you're content to sit on the sofa and watch TV all day, or you're literally to the point where you're bent over and hunched over because you're on the computer or whatever, and your spouse isn't encouraging you to get up, or the other people in your household aren't encouraging you to get up and move around or do things. And it's not that they're trying to be mean or trying to be hateful or anything like that. They're just saying, well, that's life. That's just how it's going to be, and not opening up the opportunities and the possibilities for you to make a healthier choice and start your journey. And sometimes what happens with our clients is they start on this healthy journey and the family members start seeing the changes. And sometimes they get on board and they're like, woohoo, and everything's great. And sometimes they get a little jealous. And they get a little snarky, I guess you would say, with the clients. And so when the clients are reaching goal weights and achieving things that they'd never achieved before, the only place that they're getting validation is within these accountability groups. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you're so dead on with that, because the word complacency, the hard thing is, say, two people in a house, say it's a husband and wife in a house, or something. We'll just make that pretty simple. So listen, if you're listening now and you're married and stuff, know that it's not uncommon if you're trying to make changes in your household. You're trying to make changes inside of you to be better, healthier, more fit. You want to get rid of the spare tire. Maybe you had baby weight, belly fat that been sitting there for years. You've tried all the diets and all that stuff. And the other person in the party, or your the relationship, spouse, what have you, they're not on board. When you start to get results, it's not that, and we say like the word saboteur, and this, unfortunately, it's just human nature. Because what happens is when you start making change, and this could be your BFFs as well, when you start making changes for yourself, and maybe somebody that you're close to in a relationship, they're kind of complacent about how you've been together. Oh, you used to going out with the ladies on Thursday night or after work for happy hour, or just chilling on Netflix and chill all weekend long and not moving at all. And then you decide to do something different. You decide to blaze a new path for yourself, because you realize you're not giving yourself your best. The hard thing is when you start to give yourself your best, you start to make time for yourself, you start to make goals for yourself, you start feeling better, more confident. When the person that's in that relationship with you, regardless of be a friend or family member or spouse, is that it's a reflection then back to what they're not doing themselves. And I think sometimes, again, it gets in the way. And it's not anything faulty. It just is part of human nature. Because then what it does is it forces them to look at what they're not doing themselves. So if you got two people in a household that are overweight and one starts to drop some weight and starts to feel better and get in great shape, well, how is that going to make the other one look? It's going to make them look worse, because complacency, is complementary with more and more. Like, you get complacent around other complacent people, right? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Well, show me your habits and I'll show you what you're going to look like. Like, show me your relationships and how that works. So it's hard, but that's, basically what you're saying too, is having that kind of support, having that accountability, having that community is really helpful. And what I've noticed, at least from the years I've been doing this, even seeing you guys as well, in the last couple of years, is what happens is eventually some of that stuff changes. Some of that stuff turns around. We've seen it in our clients where we see families that are getting in better shape. They're deciding they don't want to stay stuck. They don't want to see mom or dad getting in great shape, and then they're kind of on the side, or my husband or my wife getting great shape. And like, I know as a spouse, like I was thinking to myself, I haven't had to struggle with this, but with my wife and I, we've been pursuing healthy, fit lifestyle our whole lives, the whole 23 years we've been together. But I can imagine, I was thinking, if my wife was pursuing health and fitness and super hot and, her body's rocking, and I'm like, dang, and I'm not, then I'm like, am I going to be good enough for it? Now, I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I also say, it's like, or is somebody else going to be attracted to her, or is she going to be attracted to somebody else? I mean, look, the reality is there's a physical attraction in a relationship, in a marriage, right? Or should be their whole life. Like, I want to be attracted to one woman since I started with her, and I want to be with her the rest of my life. But like, I can imagine if I was a slob and I was a fat, loafy sitting around on my butt doing nothing. And like, I can see that being a strain on a relationship. Now, mind you, if both people are fit, like, we have a great relationship, we're both pretty fit. But I can imagine even if both people are unfit, that can be a pretty good relationship too, right? Sit around, hang out, get complacent. But then it gets complacent until what happens? You guys know what happens. What happens to people that become complacent with their health and their fitness and they get overweight? What happens? What do we see?
They get
They
sick.
keep the same path and even fall even further.
They get worse, they get sick, they need medication, they get conned into doing like diets and medical weight loss things and crazy, like, extreme measures, having surgeries and things like that. It's crazy. To me, it's crazy, rather than, say, wow, I can actually, if I actually just put my head down and went to work and got the right tools and learned a skill set to get in really better shape. And we've seen it time and time again with our clients,
Yes.
year after year, time and time again. And it's honestly, in my opinion, and I think you guys will agree because you've been a part of it, it's way easier to do it. Even though on the front end, it might be a little harder to make those changes, it's so much easier than to rely on medication the rest of your life, or to yo-yo on diets the rest of your life, I had somebody the other day that I'd been touching base that was probably, I say, in our pipeline, our ecosystem, basically have been in our social kind of presence for like 2-3 years. And she's like 70s, 72, going to go back on Weight Watchers probably for the umpteenth time. And I'm just thinking, like, it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And I know the problem is marketing does a good job of repackaging new diets, right? Like paleo to keto to Nutrisystems to, what's the Optavia, all these like prepackaged food programs, to medical weight loss, to HCG diets, like all these types of things. And they end up, in the exact same place that they've been. And we've, you guys have had enough experience with a lot of people who've done that. So like, it blows me away still today that we are so prone to just think it's just going to be another diet. Oh, this diet's going to work for me this time. Or, hey, Weight Watchers, I've done it 27 times. Weight Watchers, this time, I promise you it's going to be the answer to my weight loss problems that I've had since I've been 30 and now I'm 72 years old, right? Crazy, right? So let's do this.
The
Go ahead.
problem isn't the weight loss. The problem is Like, even if they get surgeries and they take these drastic forms, the problem is they're not changing the habits that got them there in the first place. Because I can understand if you reach a point where you do need to go to the doctor, you do need to get medication because you're insulin resistant, you're type 2 diabetes. Now you need medication because you're so far past dialing it back with just nutrition and exercise. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't change your nutrition and you shouldn't change your exercise, because
It won't work.
if you don't change the habits, everything that you just worked so hard to fix is going to fall apart the second you stop.
Yeah, 100%. What were you going to say, Joanne?
I was going to say all of this, what we were just talking about, reminded me of this amazing client that I worked with. She came in here just feeling kind of like, I tried and tried and tried, nothing's working. And I just want to get better for myself, my family, and be able to be there. And she just jumped into everything full steam. She followed the nutrition plan. She worked out. She changed her mindset, went through all these things. And lo and behold, what happened? Her husband saw all these amazing changes, not only on the outside, but tremendous changes on the inside as well. And he's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Let me see what I can do. Next thing you know, he's going out for walks with her. What is he doing? Changing his nutrition. Boom. He lost 30 pounds. He got off medication.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's just testimony to the difference between developing a skill set, because you can't, like, if you're on a diet, you can't teach the diet to some, I mean, you can, like, you could say, oh, we'll just eat meat, do the keto, like, or you could say, hey, just count your points. You can do that, but it's not a skill set, right? It's just a tool. So all these things are just tools. Yeah. I mean, and I know exactly who you're talking about too. And I thought that was amazing, but there's so many times. I mean, we had one, I remember one, and maybe Jennifer, you'll have one as well. And she's back in our program now. One of the things that she talked about is I'm slow. It's slow. She had a lot of weight to lose and she's still in the process. She's lost over 100 pounds. But I remember once she said, hey, I'm going to go on my own and work on this on my own, after I think it was about a year, lost over 100 pounds. And I remember reconnecting with this particular client. And she said, well, I really want to get to that next level. Like, now I'm here, I want to get there. And I'm not where I want to be yet. I still have weight I want to lose, but I know I'll do better getting your help. But it said, oh, by the way, my dad kind of learned some of the stuff that I've been doing and the skills I've kind of helped him with stuff that I learned from your program. And he lost 50 pounds. And this is a woman whose father was probably good, 25, 30 years older than her. I don't know, maybe he's in his 70s or something, 60s or 70s. 50 pounds. So again, like, the ripple effect, like, is so, and that's just testament to the difference between what we offer, which is training and coaching, and something where you can develop better habits through developing better skills that we do with trainings like we did last night, and so forth and so on. And, having an ongoing relationship with our clients, like, that's kind of the process. Cool. Let's, so let's just to kind of summarize some of the other stuff. So we set goals on Monday, and I know you talked about Wednesday. So, and I guess we can just kind of wrap this part up, is we do Wednesday check-in just to make sure everything's working. Your goals that you set and you achieved, you're set through Wednesday. So the requirements to check in. And then on Friday, we talk about wins. Well, gosh, Coach Jennifer, Coach Trent, like, I don't really have any wins to share this week. So I don't really feel like there's any kind of big wins. What's the value that we do with our Friday, celebrating our wins?
There's always a win. Yeah. There is always a win. Actually, one of our clients talked about that in the accountability, and she kind of touched on it in the live. The scale was not her friend last week when she went to go check in, but she still had a win, and that was her measurements had changed in the positive. So even though the scale was not friendly, the tape measure showed her that everything that she had done for that week still resulted in progress. And progress takes many forms. It's not just whether or not the scale says what you want it to. So,
Yeah.
that's a
And so
huge,
that's the value of actually sharing that win, is also having we say stack the wins. We kind of come back to say, when you stack those wins on the wins, what's I think really valuable when you own up to a win, no matter how big or small, it's also valuable for other people to see, oh yeah, wow, that's really good. Maybe I should take my measurements too, instead of just weighing and looking at my results based on the scale weight. Again, that's the built-in process that we have for other members, clients, to see we celebrate wins on all different levels. You know what's crazy? I think, Coach Jennifer, too, is I don't think people are used to celebrating wins for themselves, other than if they see the scale change. That's it. I mean, maybe if their scale changes and they fit in clothes, or something like that, but they're not actually looking at, the problem is they're just looking for the home run, right? They're not looking like, the best way to win a baseball game is to get on base, right? Like, home runs come and go, but there's not many of them in a baseball game, right? And occasionally we'll have a home run client, right? We'll have somebody that just does everything and it's boom, 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 boom. And they don't even need much coaching. They just needed to have it kind of all the things set up for them to succeed. But I was like, it's getting on base, right? Like, hey, you can bunt, you can hit a little grounder, you can get walked on base, like however it works to get on base. And then you can get on to another base. And then you get from first base to second base. And I don't know why I brought up a baseball analogy, but illustration. But then again, and then you have somebody else coming up to bat, right? And then you see, wow, well, they did this. They got 10,000 steps in and they have a full-time job and they run a business. How do they do that? And that, I think, is pushing that person to second base and then to third base. And then they get home and they get a win. You see the measurements change instead of this weight on the scale, which is really, really awesome. Yeah. So good. So what about you, Coach Joanne, just as far as like Friday, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, Friday wins, when we talk about Fridays and we just run through and say, hey, yeah, I met these goals. I may have this goal that I have a little bit more to do on over the weekend, but I have met these two goals over the course of the week.
Yeah.
That in itself is your win.
Yeah.
That's one win, maybe not the only win, but that's one win. When we celebrate wins on Fridays, it just makes you realize there's much more to your health and fitness than just the weight. Yes, we're mostly, all of us are here for the weight. That's what kind of guided us or pushed us a little bit towards the direction that they went. But there's much more to it than just the weight and what the scale says. You have to take everything into account: your mental status, your nutrition, and just how you overall feel. And that those are all wins. Don't discount any of those.
Yeah. And then just the way to acknowledge it is that you have to start on the Monday when you set up your goals, right?
Yeah.
Like that, if you have like, hey, I want to eat more vegetables. Well, did you eat more vegetables? I don't know. Well, of course you don't know, because you didn't have a set goal. You didn't have a specific goal in mind. And there's nothing wrong as far as the scale, because if people want to lose weight, that's good. Our clients average if they're trying to lose anywhere is like 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, which is kind of like the sweet spot. And our program, we have some that want to lose more, some that want to lose less. We're talking 8 to 10, sometimes 12 pounds a month is doable in that. So it's good, but also realizing you might get a lot of early success with weight. And then your body might be transforming. You're starting to pack on some muscle. You're starting to develop, better habits. You're starting to transform. That's why we do measurements. So the way we do check-ins, aside from just accountability, and we have our trainings and all that stuff, we require our students. Now, you want to know our secret to tracking progress. Now, of course, our clients track their workouts. We do all that stuff. We make it super easy for them, but also on a weekly basis, they're required to measure their body. It's not very hard, especially if you're the one testing and you learn how to do it properly. It takes no time. You take a picture and you get on the scale. Yeah, we did a whole training on how to, measure your progress and stuff, which is great. That was just recent. And it's something super simple to do. And it's really valuable skill, because you can always get on the scale, but I mean, we've seen people that haven't changed the scale at all and they lose like 2 sizes, right? Their body's transforming. They have now lean, strong muscle. Now, maybe this is a whole separate training, but a pound of muscle and a pound of fat is still a pound. Like if you got a pound of muscle and a pound of fat, that they're both still weigh a pound. They both weigh exactly the same. However, the pound of fat is going to take up more space than a pound of muscle. And the easiest way to kind of, this is just something I learned, and I'll give this to you guys take home. And actually we can use this with our clients too, is go to the grocery store and buy a bag of oranges. And then as you're at the grocery store, also buy a bag of grapefruit. And I wouldn't do this at the store. Just go buy the stuff, bring it home, and put 6 grapefruits under your shirt. And think of that as 6 pounds of fat. And then take the 6 grapefruits out and put 6 oranges under your shirt. And think of that as 6 pounds of muscle. Muscle is more condensed in size. So if you were to put side by side a pound of muscle and a pound of fat, the pound of fat is going to take up more space on your body. So when our clients are exercising and they're doing strength training or I've yet to meet a woman that says, I just want to lose the weight. They want to have a tight toned body. They want to have tight arms. They don't want to have loose skin. And part of that is developing lean muscle, strong muscle on your body. We're not talking like bodybuilders and like women that look like men. We're not talking about that. I'm just talking about strong, healthy, fit looking people. The skin gets tighter, the body gets toner, like your confidence is there. And even if the weight's not changing, you look really good naked in front of the mirror instead of just like looking down at the scale to see the weight didn't change at all. And that has to do with the transfer of, we call it transformation, the transfer from fat to muscle. Now, fat doesn't turn into muscle. You remove and you decrease the fat cells, and they get smaller. And so that takes up less space. And then you start putting muscle on, but that could be reflecting on a non-scale victory because you'll see the measurement, you'll see the picture. You're like, damn, like where are those? I never saw those abs before. And that's the value of doing more than just scale weight on a measurement basis. So we do weigh-ins, but we do measurements and we do pictures. So for those of you out there that want to know how to track your progress, take pictures, take a front picture, a side picture, and a back picture of yourself every single week, like our clients do. Take measurements every single week. In fact, if you want to even go OCD on it, you can end scale, do it every single day for a month and take the average every week of your weight, take the average of your measurements, you don't have to take the average of your pictures, but I'll guarantee you, if you look, you won't notice day-to-day changes in your pictures. But if you look like you guys have and our clients do, from 1 month to like 2-3 months in, you're like, whoa, if you're on the right plan and you have a right program and exercise and nutrition plan, then the results are guaranteed. Like it's a no-brainer in my opinion. It's like a guaranteed success. And to me, I think it's way easier. Well, I'll tell you what, this is a really great training. Anything else as far as an ahas or anything you want to share? Again, I missed the training last night, but Joanne, was there anything else we wanted to kind of add to this for viewers that are listening? I hope this was really helpful for them, just as far as the value of checking in and really truly to the best way to get results.
Yeah, checking in for me, what that means is it's a great way to measure your progress or keep up with your progress, but it's just like a compass that aligns intentions with actions, and it gets your aspirations and turns them into tangible results. So if you follow these ways of checking in, whether it be by yourself, setting your goals and telling yourself, okay, I struggle with this, how can I do this? Or whether it's with a group of like-minded people like our Tuesday accountability groups,
Which is
if
way
you follow
easier.
all of this and you celebrate
Which
the
is
win,
way easier.
it is much easier when you have someone there.
Yeah.
You will see a huge difference, and you'll get a higher level of accountability, support, and you'll just blossom. But you gotta follow. You gotta hold yourself accountable. You gotta check in with someone, and you just have to be true to yourself.
Awesome. Anything else to add?
And one of the things that works with that is you can be inspired by other people's goals to make those your future goals. And the reason why I say future goals is because we don't want the FOMO people. And Rachel Scrivener was one who talked about that. Today is her last day of 75 hard.
Nice.
And one of the questions that was asked, to her was, if you had started this program and started 75 hard at the same time, would you have still been successful? And she admitted absolutely not. She had to work through learning basic skills, get a really good foundation before doing something as challenging as 75 hard. And that is why she was able to complete it. So allow other people who are at a different level than you to inspire you, so you can aspire to be at that level. But keep in mind that you still got to take the steps to get there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants the easiest way, and really the best way is to go through the hard things that you have to do. Right? I mean, that's really the only way. We have that. We see it. There's valleys, there's peaks and valleys, wins and losses. People have weeks that are they just sucked. They just had terrible stuff going on. You guys have had them. I've had them. But the more you can be consistent with those skills and developing them and bettering yourself and being around a supportive environment, like we've talked about, I think we beat that to a dead horse in a good way, because it is true. I think really the one difference that for even like Rachel, who's absolutely been crushing it, she's lost over 50 pounds and completely doing something as challenging as 75 hard, which is a mental toughness program. It's not even a fitness program, but the way she was able to do it is she developed those skill sets from us early on, which is really good. So I'll tell you what, this is a great coach's corner. If you guys like this, enjoyed it, if you have questions as well, you can certainly ask as far as accountability or support, or, as far as getting and guaranteeing your results. Really, the formula we just shared with you, it truly is what's making. I wish I could tell you there was some special pill that we give out to our clients when they come in our program that helps them drop belly fat and get in the best shape of their lives. They got to do the work, but we basically put a roadmap in front of them to give them everything they need. And it's based on years and years and years of experience and in the trenches working with people that have done it the right way and have done it the wrong way. And we've been able to, and also my coaches now do such an outstanding job of being the success leaders for them and paving the way, because they're setting the bar pretty high themselves. And like Coach Jennifer said, as far as wanting to aspire, not so much in like a FOMO or like hey, I want their results. We know people are on their own path, their own journey, and that's the most important thing. So regardless of the journey that you're on, truly, as far as when it comes to succeeding, it's a lifelong process. And the best way to build a lifelong process of results is to develop your skills, your habits, understanding how important it is to set goals and to celebrate wins and the things that we talked about today. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to going back and watching the replay that you had. And listen, I know for those of you that are kind of wondering what we do, I think, something that's unique and unlike any other coaching program out there. We help you develop the skills that you can take with you the rest of your life, not just to get the weight off, because that's honestly, in our opinion, is kind of the easy part. The hard part is actually to develop skills that will take you from trying to lose 30 pounds, 40, 50 pounds to your entire family transforming into the fit family in the neighborhood. And you know what? We need more fit people. We need more fit adults. We need more fit families out there leading the pack so that they can inspire other people. Because the last thing, at least one of our desires, are for people to be stuck on medication, stuck sitting on a couch feeling that they're half the person, even though they're twice as big, but they can't do the things that they want to do and enjoy in their life because they're sitting in that place of complacency. And it's very, very easy to do, especially nowadays when there's more and more people overweight and out of shape and unhealthy. And maybe even fearful, like they fear, like if I start tomorrow, I don't know what to do. Well, that's the best way to realize you need help. And listen, I could go on and on. I appreciate Coach Joan and Coach Joanne for allowing me to be in Coach's Corner with them. If you guys enjoyed this, well, this will be posted probably later in the week. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd love your feedback. And then, of course, like we don't do any advertising on here. So as far as subscribing to the channel, you can be checking this out on YouTube if you want to watch. And also you can listen to a podcast or you're on a walk or workout. And I hope this episode is actually first episode of Coach's Corner. You enjoyed that. And by all means, you can continue to follow us on different social platforms and so forth, so on. If you have any more questions, by all means, if you know Coach Jennifer, Coach Jan, you can reach out to them. Usually most likely through Facebook. You can also join our Brave community. Let us know if you'd like access to that. We are developing a army of fit families, men, women, and even their kids as well. And we want you to be a part of our community so you can get the kind of support that you need. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks, Coach Jennifer, Coach Joanne. Appreciate you. And that'll take a wrap for today's Coach's Corner. All right. Take care and God bless.